Warning, the following video contains certain expectations that could be considered those of a dumbass. For your protection, do not act like the man in this video and tamper your expectations. If you don't, you too will be a dumbass.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, David here, and welcome back to another video. This one is going to be very interesting and very fun because I like to expect and hope and cope, as some of y'all will say. Yeah, just dream about announcements that I would like to see. Of course, I do have big hopes for the April 2nd Nintendo Direct, for the simple reason that it's not your typical Direct. It's actually a Direct that is going to be focused on a launch of a system, the Nintendo Switch 2, of course. People have been waiting for it. People have been asking Nintendo for months, almost years at this point, for this system reveal. And generally, when they reveal a system, there's big game reveals that comes with it. That's what we saw in January of 2017 with the Nintendo Switch 1 reveal. And of course, myself being a huge SEGA and ATLUS fan, I wanted to talk today about you guys, about everything that could be happening. So what should we expect? What should we hope for to be announced during this April 2nd Nintendo Switch 2 Direct? It should be fun. Let's take this video lightly, right? Don't go in and expect a bunch of stuff and just, you know, cope, as they say. Just wish for the best, and hey, if we get 1 or 2 or 3 of these games, that would be freaking awesome. Just one of these and I'm happy. And I'm definitely expecting ATLUS and SEGA to show up in some way, shape, or form with, I would expect minimum 1 reveal per company. So 1 for SEGA and 1 for ATLUS. That is the big minimum because, again, they want to be there. They are a Nintendo partner and they want to show stuff at this reveal. I think it's totally fair to expect them. I do want to quickly go over what ATLUS and SEGA revealed during the Switch 1 era in Nintendo Directs. I'm not going to list everything, but there's so many games that were revealed by these companies in Nintendo Directs. There's really history there, and I really can't see them not being there on April 2nd. So on the ATLUS side of things, they revealed a port of Catherine Full Body, Tokyo Mirage Sessions with the Encore version, Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remastered, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and if you want to count the Switch 1 reveal, SMT5, the reveal trailer for that game, this is where it debuted, this is where it premiered. And we also got Unicorn Overlord as well during Nintendo Direct's reveal. On the Sega side of things, there's way too much to list all of them, but we got a Yakuza Kiwami port recently, a bunch of Monkey Ball games, a bunch of Sonic titles as well were revealed in Nintendo Directs, Sega collections of old games, Genesis collection and everything, Samba de Amigo, Party Central. I could keep going. A ton of Sega titles were also revealed in Nintendo Directs. So what I want to do today is I want to go over everything that I think could be announced by either SEGA or ATLUS or both. And I want to have fun and try and guess out of 10 what is the likeliest scenario. So out of 10 being like 10 being the most likely ever to show up, and 1 being like, hey, it's a dream announcement, you know. But I do have one crazy out there dream reveal that I want to talk about at the end of the video that I'm not predicting, but that would be crazy. Everything else are prediction-ish, right? With, again, a 1 out of 10 grading system. Let's get right into it, and I'm going to start my predictions with ATLUS. If you guys know me, I've been running this channel for over 5 years at this point, and ATLUS is my jam, but I'm also a big SEGA fan. So let's start with ATLUS. The one thing that I would like to see, that I think is possible, that I think it's also this game's last chance to show up and to succeed, that would be Soul Hackers 2. So I would like to see a complete version of Soul Hackers 2 with the DLCs included for Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, Soul Hackers 2 released on all platforms but the original Nintendo Switch, so Nintendo fans have been wanting to play this title. The self-shaded style will look great on a portable system, and this game is too good for the flop that it actually is, so people need to play that game some more, and unfortunately it didn't do that well on other platforms, so I think the Switch 2 would certainly give it another chance. So when it comes to Soul Hackers 2 plus DLC, the likeliness out of 10, I'm just going to drop numbers very quickly because, again, we're just having fun here. I would like to say it's a 6 out of 10 chance of showing up. That is my bet for this one. Now, this next prediction of mine on the ATLUS side of things is certainly a likely candidate. It is a 8.5 out of 10 chance of showing up, again, in my opinion, and that would be a complete version of a title that was very successful for Atlus, Persona 3 Reload. And that title is still fairly recent, it's just over a year old. We now have DLC in the form of episode I Just the Answer, which is super dope. So to include all of that in one package, give it to Nintendo fans who also missed out, sadly. So Reload released on all platforms but Switch as well, being a late Nintendo Switch title. They skipped the platform. Hey, believe me, Atlus, but I don't have to tell you this. You know that Nintendo fans want Persona. Sales numbers are showing that they want Persona. Reload has a very, very good chance of showing up in the April 2nd Direct. So again, an 8.5 out of 10 for Reload. This one, in terms of a port, in terms of a re-release, has to be the most exciting one to me, and I think there's also a very solid chance of it showing up, and that would be a Metaphor ReFantazio port. I would like to give that a 9 out of 10 chance of showing up. I think it's extremely likely. Metaphor, Atlus wants the game to be the pillar title, the third pillar that they've been looking for, that Soul Hikers 2 certainly wasn't. Metaphor has the potential to be that. They want to make a sequel. They talk about Metaphor and they want to do more with it. They don't know what yet. I think the first step in that direction is to make the game available to players who missed out with the original release. So Metaphor ReFantazio port. The game isn't a year old yet. It's not too late. Nintendo fans are going to eat it up. I know I would show up day one for this one. So Metaphor ReFantazio port, count me in. I do have a 0.5 here that I want to talk about for this prediction specifically, and some of y'all Atlus fans won't like this, but I have to mention it. A royal version. It's probably not going to be called royal, but some sort of royal version or hand-hands version with new content of Metaphor could also show up and be revealed here at this Switch 2 Direct, which obviously that would be a multi-platform game as well, so they would announce it at the same time for other platforms after the Direct, right? I don't think that's as likely at all, though. I would say that is like a 2 out of 10 chance of showing up. I think a straight port of the original game is way more likely. Another Atlus title that I 1000% believe is in development, or it's real, or it's going to show up at some point because of the Steam database leak that we saw in September of last year. I reported on that during an Atlus news episode. Please check out that video if you're interested, but that would be Devil Summoner HD. So Raido Kuzunoha versus King Abaddon in HD in a remastered format like they did with Nocturne. I think this is definitely happening for Switch and of course Switch 2 at the same time. That being said, this is like a very smallish type of reveal. It's a PS2 remaster. Would that show up in a big Switch 2 event? Probably not. In a smaller scale Nintendo Direct, like there were rumors of a February Nintendo Direct. Of course, we know that didn't happen. If we got some sort of small Direct in February, I would have expected Raido to show up. But at a Switch 2 reveal, So I'm going to give that prediction a 2 out of 10 chance of happening. Yeah, lowest chance yet. Speaking of lowest chance, you guys won't like this because, again, you would want this to happen, right? Why wouldn't you? I know I would. Shin Megami Tensei 6. It's really early to say that because these games are in development. Team Maniacs, they're good at their craft. They want to make sure the games are polished and everything. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance also released last year. Banger game, which was revealed again in the Nintendo Direct. SMT5 was revealed in 2017. It released in 2021. I think it's still too early, unfortunately, for Shin Megami Tensei 6. For that reason alone, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 chance. But hey, if they want to replicate what they did in January of 2017 and reveal the game way too early, they could. I would freak out. But I hope they don't do that because then I'm going to have to talk about SMT6 every week for years like I did with SMT5, which I loved to do, by the way. But don't create expectations. Make sure you're ready to show it when you reveal it, Atlus. But I would be crazy excited for some sort of teaser, SMT6. I don't expect it, though. Final prediction for Atlus is also something that I don't expect to show up at this sort of event. It doesn't make that much sense, but I do want to bring it up still because some of y'all are going to mention it. So this also gets a 1 out of 10 chance of happening for me, and that would be a Persona 5 The Phantom X console version announcement, which would include, of course, a Switch 2 version. So if you guys don't know, Persona 5 The Phantom X is, for now, a mobile/PC only type of project. But it was announced by Perfect World Games that they are definitely eyeing a console version. They know there's desire for a console version, which is why I think it's possible. But at a Switch 2 reveal event, definitely not, in my opinion. So 1 out of 10 chance. Am I expecting a console version of that game at some point? I think there's a good chance that it happens for sure. Alright, so that would be it for Atlus. So if we recap everything, I would say Metaphor ReFantazio port has the biggest chance of happening, and then I would say Persona 3 Reload complete version with DLC would be second. Then I would go into Soul Hackers 2 plus DLC, which right there, and it's like not too likely. And then you have, you know, Devil Summoner, Raido Kuzuno after, and with the less likely candidates, SMT 6 and Persona 5 X, the console version. Oh, and of course, the cherry on top that I intentionally skipped over. They call me the dumbass with actual expectations for reasons, right? Hear me out. Hear me out. Persona 6. Ooh! Persona is going to celebrate its 30th anniversary next year. I expect Persona 6 to release next year. I expect a reveal for Persona 6 to happen this year. And I'm trying to put my finger on where and when Atlus could reveal it. Switch 2 Direct, where there's so many eyes on the presentation. If you want as many eyes as possible on your reveal, you do it right now, or you do it late at the Game Awards. Those are the two most likely scenarios. So Persona 6, Switch 2 reveal, April 2nd. That would break me. That would break me. And speaking of breaking me, I mean, I'm going to be streaming this event. So if you want to see me freak out live, I am going to stream, and I'm going to go live like an hour and a half early before the show to chat with y'all. So check that out. I'm going to link the stream in the video description. It's already up and ready to go. So yeah, P6. A number on it? I don't want to cry if it doesn't happen. So it's dangerous to put a number on it, but let me put a 5 on it. Hey, F it. Let me put a 6 on it. Persona 6, 6 out of 10 chance of happening. Let's get it. Alright, so now, for real, let's move on to the Sega side of things. So Sega has a lot of interesting things that could happen. A lot of potential here. And don't forget to stay until the end, because I want to share my dream prediction, which is crazy. If you think I'm crazy at this point, you're not ready, right? You're not ready. So the first thing that I would love to see show up that I think has a very solid chance is an old IP coming back. Sega showed their initiative to bring back a bunch of their older IPs in different formats. Some will be their Super Games initiative, like live service titles. There's also going to be single player games in there, like the Shinobi title that they recently revealed at the State of Play. This could certainly show up. Jet Set Radio, the re-reveal of that. Crazy Taxi, the reboot. I would be going crazy for these games. I would love for these to show up at the Switch 2 Direct. I think that it would be a great way to show them for sure. It's really hard to put numbers on this though. One of these things to show up, a 7.5 out of 10. I think there's a really good chance of one of these things to happen. I would love to see Jet Set Radio first, because that would make me the most excited. I do think Crazy Taxi has a lot of potential too, but if we are to believe the leaks, I think Crazy Taxi is going to be the live service one. So I'm kind of like, I don't really do these styles of games though, so we'll have to wait and see. If it has an incredible showing, maybe I'll check it out for sure. Alright, next up would be probably a 9 or 9.5 out of 10 chance of happening, and that would be a Switch 2 version of Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I think is very likely. It's confirmed to be released to be coming to Nintendo Switch, but a Switch 2 version, or just a new trailer to confirm it that, hey, it's going to be playable on Switch 2 as well. Very good chance of this happening. Another Sonic title, maybe anything could happen. I'm not putting a number on this. Anything Sonic, very likely. If you guys know me, you guys know that I'm, again, not just an Atlus fan, but a Sega fan. And if you ask me what my favorite Sega IP is, it would be the Yakuza / Like a Dragon IP and franchise. These games are fire. These games are amazing. They have the best characters in gaming. They have some of the best stories in gaming as well. Combat is better than ever now with the turn-based titles, which are the games that I'm going to be predicting for Switch 2. Announcements for Switch 2 versions of Yakuza Like a Dragon, which would be Yakuza 7, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which would be Yakuza 8. Both announced to release on Switch 2. Switch owners, we don't have Yakuza. We have Yakuza Kiwami 1 HD. I don't think Atlus is going to go back and do all the Yakuza franchise again. If you know these titles, you know that you want to... It's a story. It all lines up one after the other. You can definitely start with either Yakuza 0 or Yakuza 1, or you start with Like a Dragon or Yakuza 7. This is where you start. Those are your three options. Since they put Yakuza Kiwami on Switch 1 and not 0, I am thinking that Yakuza 7 is the next in line, so I would love to see that. I think there's good potential. These games sold really well on other platforms. They're turn-based RPGs, stuff that Switch fans are fans of. So yeah, definitely a good chance. I would say one of these titles to show up, 8 out of 10 chance. Yes, I'm going there. I think it would be awesome with the power of Switch 2 versus the first Switch. I think it can handle the Dragon Engine. I think there's good potential for sure for my man Ichiban Kasuga to show up. Let's get it. I would love to see it for sure. Another thing that I would love to see is something that I'm still holding on to and I don't want to let it go. It's a rumor that happened. The source is Insider Gaming. They reported on that in 2023. I made a video talking about that. No news after that, sadly, and it is for the Sakura Wars or Sakura Tyson franchise. I'm a big fan after the reboot that we got in 2019, which I loved. Fortunately, it flopped and there was big budget behind it and everything, so I think Sega's a little scared to go back to the IP. But Insider Gaming in 2023 reported that something is in development for Sakura Wars in-house at Sega. So of course that got me crazy excited. I would love for Sakura Wars to come back. So if they are rebooting the game again, or if they are doing, let's say, a big remake of the first title, I hope they reveal it at a Switch 2 event. I think it would give it the best chance to succeed after that, and I would love to see that for sure. A collection of older titles would also be cool, but I don't think that is a Switch 2 type of reveal. So if they show up with Sakura Wars, I'm expecting a reboot or a remake. Ooh, this one doesn't seem too likely, sadly, and the Sakura Wars fan in me is crying at that a little bit, so I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10 chance of happening. Yes, sir, sadly. My final prediction before my dream announcement, the final prediction is going to be some sort of single-player monkey ball game again. So we got the multiplayer game recently. I would love to see a brand new from the ground up monkey ball game with differences in gameplay style. Maybe give that to another team. Let RGG Studio cook with the Like a Dragon IP and their Project Century game that they are working with, and give Monkey Ball to another team that is going to try something unique and something new and fun while keeping the formula alive. I would love to see that. I think there's a good chance of that happening as well, so I'm going to put like a 6.5 out of 10 chance of this happening. All right, so let's move on to my dream reveal. Dream reveal would be the announcement of the first collaboration, in-house development collaboration between SEGA and ATLUS. They would remake in a big scale Skies of Arcadia. Just saying it, I get really excited. That would be crazy. I've been thinking about this. Work with P Studio, work with Team Maniacs and some folks in-house at SEGA to bring back Skies of Arcadia in a gigantic form, like massive scale. I'm not talking FF7 remake scale, because the IP doesn't have the power that Final Fantasy has, so you don't have the same budget, but you can change the story a little bit. You can change the gameplay and structure of the game a little bit, not too much, but make it visually appealing, change the music a little bit, and yeah, go crazy. Do something big with it. I would love for that to happen. And of course, I saw it. I didn't report on it because it happened time and time again, and I'm hearing things behind the scene that there's something Skies of Arcadia brewing, but it's not a game, sadly, so you'll have to wait and see what I'm referring to, but something's happening, and I think that's the reason why they renewed the Skies of Arcadia trademark in January of 2025, not because of a game reveal, but still, that would be the dream reveal for me. Don't forget to drop your comment and tell me, tell me two things. What is the most likely game that I talked about today to show up, or something that I completely missed that you think is likely to show up from SEGA and ATLUS? And give me your dream reveal for this show. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you like weekly ATLUS and RPG content. Otherwise, you have a good day, y'all. Bye.